Hello, everyone, and welcome to our fourth installment of AP Teacher Week 2020 for math and computer science teachers. My name is Claire Lorenz, and I work on the AP instruction team here at the College Board. If you've been joining me or watching these Teacher Week videos this week, you know we try to make the most of the limited time we have together, so we are going to get started. And again, just a quick note about AP Teacher Week 2020. This has been a series of live events and where we've been doing a deep dive into the instructional resources that the AP program has designed to support all AP teachers in any learning environment. We know that a lot of you are going to be going back to school in a variety of different settings, and there's a lot of uncertainty still around how schools and school districts will be preparing to go back to school, whether that's in person, in a hybrid or blended learning structure, or completely online or a virtual environment. And our hope is that the resources we've been talking about this week can help you provide the practice and support your students need, regardless of when and how instruction is being delivered. Today's session is going to focus on the AP question bank in AP Classroom, and specifically using the right question at the right time. As a bit of a recap, I've been showing this diagram all week, but we think of our AP resources and the way that they support teaching and learning in a cycle of instructional planning and delivery, from planning, teaching, practicing, assessing student knowledge, and getting and giving feedback. We have a resource that is aligned to all of these. And Monday, we talked about the AP Daily videos. Tuesday, we talked about practicing using the topic questions as you teach each topic in your course. And then yesterday, we talked about assessing student progress and giving and getting feedback at the end of a unit through the personal progress checks and through the progress dashboard. We're talking today about the question bank, which we actually situate kind of outside this cycle of teaching and learning, because we know that the AP question bank largely contains questions from our summative AP exams or our official practice AP exams. They're what we call May questions. They were meant to be given to students after they have mastered the full scope of content and skills in a course. Now, you may find a really great use for the question bank during the school year, and that's okay. And we're going to talk about how best to make those decisions during the school year. But we do think about the use of the question bank in terms of the next step or seventh step in this cycle, and that would be preparing students for the AP exam. What we want to make sure is in our usage of the question bank, we are giving students questions that meet them where they are during the school year, and not giving them questions that are too far down the line in terms of content or skill for where they are at a particular point during the school year. So we'll look a little bit about how we can make the best choices of the questions we're using in the question bank. So when and how would you use the question bank? Well, the question bank is mainly for targeted and customized practice. The topic questions are aligned to the specific topic, content, and skill from the course and exam description. And the progress checks also are based on that topic skill pairing, but are meant to be given at the end of the unit. The question bank can be used to create any custom practice assignment that you would like for either in-class use or for homework. In addition, we have incorporated our full form practice exams into the question bank so that you have a ready-made full practice exam to use with your students either online or as paper assignments as the AP exam approaches. And the question bank, depending on the course, has thousands of real AP questions that are easily filtered or searched for by unit, topic, skill, and other features, which we'll look at to create this targeted custom practice that your students may need. So this is just a screenshot of what we'll be looking at today. There have been some enhancements to the question bank since last year. If you happen to use AP Classroom last year, we'll show you what some of those newer features are. But the point here is to remember that the question bank is really an online library of real AP questions that you can use to create this custom practice. And again, any question you take from the question bank or set of questions you take from the question bank, students can take either online or on paper. When do you use it? Just as a quick reminder, there are topic questions in the question bank. So the question bank, while by and large does contain the summative questions, meaning questions that came from old or released AP exams, from older or current course and exam descriptions, or our official practice exams. That's the majority of the questions in the question bank. The question bank also does contain those formative assessment questions, the topic questions that we talked about earlier this week that you can use as you are teaching each unit. They are much more formative in nature. They are meant to meet students where they are during the school year, and they have a special designation, that's the yellow light bulb, so you can find them easily in the question bank. But of course, we do have those practice questions available as well, and they are best used in preparation for the AP exam. Just 2 points to keep in mind. You can assign questions or these custom assignments you make from the question bank either in class or for homework assignments, either in an online setting or in a paper setting. So no matter how you find yourself going back to school for the 2020-2021 school year, you can find a way to make the question bank work for you. I should also mention here that students do not have carte blanche access to the question bank. So they can't log into AP Classroom and just go through the question bank and find questions on their own. They will only see questions on assignments that are assigned by you as their teacher. So the next question we get after this is, what about students who are self-studying for the exam and are not enrolled in a actual AP course? Those students will have access to things like optional student practice, and they will have access to the AP daily videos that we talked about earlier this week, but they will not have individual access to the question bank because the question bank assignments must be facilitated by an AP teacher or instructor. Okay, so if you've been joining me all week, you know that my usual MO is to show you a few slides to kind of contextualize our conversation, and then we go live into AP Classroom to kind of show you around. So we are going to look a little bit at the question bank today. I think I'm going to be toggling back and forth between a couple of classes, but in the interest of giving every course some love, I know yesterday we talked about statistics a bit, and the day before a little bit of calculus. Today I'd like to give our computer science teachers who are joining us some love. So let's go to myap.collegeboard.org, myap.collegeboard.org. This is your login screen. This is my username and password. You're going to use your username and password, then click submit. I would encourage you to go back and watch our topic question video where we talked a little bit more about this new personalized landing page for AP Central, but it will list the courses that you are course authorized to teach through the AP course audit. You're going to see a lot of icons here because I am working with a demo account in a fictitious high school, Trevor Packer High School. So I am going to scroll down to Computer Science 2A right here, and I am going to click on Go to AP Classroom. I could click here. I could also click on just go to the question bank in general, but I do want us to take a look at the home screen really quickly. So I am going to click go to AP Classroom. And hopefully this logs us in. Great. And you will land on the last unit you accessed here. So I had not accessed any other unit other than unit 1. So I will see my unit 1 here. Just as a quick review, I do want to mention again that topic questions are meant to be used as you are teaching the individual topics in a particular unit. This set of topic questions will assess the content in this topic with these particular skills. And if I do click on that topic questions link, I will be taken to the question bank. Because there were 2 skills associated with that particular topic, and I'll go back for a second just so you can see it. It was 2A and 4B. I'm going to see topic questions that reflect skill 2A, 2B, and 4B. And so I'm seeing 6 of them here because there are roughly 3 questions per topic skill pairing. The really great part about this was that the topic questions link allows me as a teacher to see the topic questions that met those specific qualifications. So I'm going to be checked here for formative questions. There were multiple skills. It was 2B and it was 4B. I can learn what those questions, what those skills are by either through the filter menu or through clicking on the skill itself. And it's selected for topic 1.1. So maybe then what would be helpful here is, let's say I've given these topic questions to my students and I've decided that my students need a bit more help with these topic skill pairings. One of the things that I may want to do is to see, are there other questions in the question bank that I could use to assess student understanding of these topic skill pairings together? So what I'm going to do here is I am going to go under assessment purpose and source, and I can do one of 2 things. I can either uncheck formative, so it gives me everything, or I can check summative, so it gives me both formative and summative. I'm just going to actually take off this formative question box, and I'm going to see what happens. So here's the bad news, and this does happen, and that's why I kind of wanted to show you this, is that I'm not getting any other questions in the question bank that are aligned to this topic and either one of these skills. It happens. That just means that there hasn't necessarily been a question on a past AP exam or on uh, a practice exam that explicitly tested these 2 things together. That kind of makes sense for those of you who teach computer science. This is a very introductory topic, and so it's kind of setting the stage for students getting ready to take the course. What I may want to do then is, and this is what we see teachers do, is that they uncheck the practice and skill and they say, okay, give me anything that is associated with topic 1.1. If I do that, you can see I gained another question and I actually gained an FRQ. So some teachers may be like, great, I have an FRQ that I can give, let's do it. So a couple of things that you want to look at here. This particular FRQ, and if you've been teaching the course for a while, this may be very blatantly obvious to you. But I do want to point out the actual official alignment of this question is to Unit 10, and the FRQ, as most FRQs do, covers a variety of topics. And I can see that the skills aligned to this particular FRQ are skills that I've not yet taught. If I've only taught topic 1.1, which I know is aligned to skill 2B and 4B, I probably don't want to give this question for a variety of reasons. One, I have not covered all of these topics yet, and I have not yet covered these skills. So students are probably not ready for this particular question. So early on in the course, it may be that your best bet is to give the formative topic questions because students have not yet learned enough to really be exposed to a full FRQ or to some of the types of questions students would see even multiple choice wise on a summative multiple choice question. I'm going to go back to the home screen really quickly so we can look at a different pairing, right? So let's say now I've taught all of Unit 1 on primitive types, and I've gotten to the end on casting and ranges of variables. By a quick look here, if I've actually taught the content and skills together and I've looked at the topic questions, I've covered quite a bit. I've covered 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, 4B, 5A, and 5B. Okay, so let's say, again, I've given the topic questions for 1.5. There were 2 skills there. Let's say I give the topic questions, my students need more practice. The first thing I might do here is uncheck this. And you can see I didn't gain any other questions. Okay, that's all right. Maybe I get rid of this particular filter. Now all of a sudden I got more questions. So let's look at what I got. Okay, so I have this particular question and I want to notice a couple of things about it. One, it's actually tied to 2 different topics. But as I'm looking at these topics, that seems okay because I've been teaching this course in order and or just so happens that I've taught this course in the order of the CED, right? It's aligned to topic 1.3 and 1.5. I already know that I've started this by saying I'd filtered for 1.5, so I've passed 1.3. So this is a good question on a content level. The question is, have I done skill 2A? Well, what I may want to do is I may want to go back to the home screen and see, did I actually teach 2A at somewhere along the line? And I did, and I actually taught it when I was going through topic 1.3. So I know I've covered that skill with students. I'm gonna uncheck what I did before. Okay. And oops. One second, I want to make sure that I did that correct. Oh, I clicked on the wrong thing. Let's go back a second. We were in 1.5. Sorry for the confusion there. There we go. So I unchecked formative and I unchecked this to see what other information I was going to get. Okay, great. So I got 1.3 and 1.5. I know I already covered skill 2A, so I'm good there. Let's look at some of these other icons that are here. This shield icon means that this is on a secure practice exam, which means if I want to know which one, I can click on the orange bar and I can say, this is from the official 2020 practice exam 1, and it's on the multiple choice section. And I have not yet assigned that to my students. So just a quick note about using these questions from the question bank as you are making your assessments. If you plan to save a practice exam so that you can give a full practice exam that students have never seen before to your students at the end of the school year, as you get ready for the AP exam, you may not want to put this question on an assessment that you give during the school year as you're teaching a particular unit, because then students will have already been exposed to that question. If you're okay with that as a teacher because you think students will forget, or like it has a really particular important context right now, totally fine for you to put it on a custom assessment, but know that it does come from one of our full form practice exams. The second thing that you should note here is that anytime you see a question with a shield icon, it is going to require the use of a lockdown browser, unless you are printing this and giving it in a classroom setting. So if you are giving it online, any assessment, whether it's the full practice exam or otherwise, like a sample or custom assessment that I would build myself, your students will have to use the lockdown browser in order to access that assessment because it contains a practice exam question. So a couple of things, those are the important things to note there. Okay, and as I scroll down here, I can see that there are some FRQs that were released, but my students may not be ready for these because I've not yet taught Unit 5 or I've not yet taught Units 2, 3, 4, and 5. So those are just some things to consider while you are going through this. What we see a lot of teachers do is they'll say, okay, I'm finished with Unit 1. So I'm going to go I'm going to, go to the question bank, go to the question bank. I see there are full 451 questions in the question bank for computer science A. I'm going to tell the question bank, give me every question you've got on Unit 1. And what you can do is you can add all of these questions to a quiz. Be like, oh, great, 40 questions, fantastic. I'm going to give my students a Unit 1 review. So I'm going to add all of these questions to a quiz. As long as that number is under 100, you have the physical capability of using this button to add them all to a quiz. I'm not going to do that right now. And I'm not going to do that right now because I want to be a little bit choosy about the questions that I am giving. If I've used the light bulb questions or the topic questions throughout the course as I was teaching Unit 1, I may not want to use them again. I definitely can reassign them. But maybe I want to look explicitly for summative questions. Okay, great. And now my 40 questions has been whittled down to 12. Maybe I don't want any questions that appeared on a practice exam. So I can actually go back here and I can say, you know what, give me anything that was in the course and exam description on the AP exam. This would be for anything that I've written. I've not authored a question, but sure, we can check it as in the event that I have. I'm going to click maybe previous practice question, like it came from an older AP practice exam, but I want to preserve these 3 practice exams for me to use toward the end of the school year. So now my 12 questions is going to be whittled down to 6. And now I'm looking at these and I'm thinking, okay, a lot of these are FRQ. I don't know if my students are ready for these yet because they have information from later units. I could preview the question and I could maybe, let's say, print this out and only tell students do part A or something to this effect. That is an option that you have as a teacher. But you can see for the majority of some of these FRQs, my students haven't learned enough yet to be able to really tackle these in the way that I would want them to. And the same thing kind of goes for these 2 MCQs that come up. While they are partially tagged to 1.3 and 1.4, I may not want to give them to students just yet if I've not yet tackled some of the nuances that are in topic 4.1 or topic 5.5. So these are some of the things when we say assigning the right question at the right time that you will want to consider as you are going through the question bank. We don't necessarily want you to go and just search for anything on a unit and just put them all on a really giant assignment because your students may not be ready for them, especially as you are using summative assessment questions that were meant to be given in May or as you're preparing for the May exam after students have learned all course content and skills. So Unit 1 is difficult to work with because students don't have a lot of course specific knowledge under their belt just yet. I'll get a lot more a lot more options as I move on in the course. So let's say I had finished teaching Unit 3 on Boolean expressions and if statements. I could, again, filter for Unit 3, okay? And I could do a lot of things here. I could, again, filter out the formative questions. I could say, you know what, I've already given all of the topic questions, so I want to stick to some of the summative questions that are here, but I want to preserve the the practice exam questions, so I don't want the shield questions to come up. Let's see. I'm at 11 questions here. Maybe I only want to look at the multiple choice. I can filter by multiple choice, but if you notice, if your course has specific task types for your FRQs, you will be able to see those FRQ types here. So statistics teachers, you should be able to sort for the investigative task. Calculus teachers, you should be able to search for calculator active and non-calculator active items. All of those will be under question types. So let's say I want MCQ. My 11 questions are now whittled down to 4. I can do some further filtering. This will tell you, this will give you questions that are part of a set. I can search for a very specific big idea, learning, enduring understanding, learning objective, or essential knowledge statement. These all come directly from the course and exam description. Again, I can search for a particular skill, and I can search for filter for how well these are aligned to the current course and exam. If you want to know what these mean, you could. This isn't a change we made. There used to be multiple categories here, and we found that teachers told us that was a little bit confusing. So we've whittled it down to 2 if you want to know what those mean. Basically, anything that is labeled as high alignment to the current course and exam means that they assess skills and content that are on the current exam and in the current course. However, the question format may not perfectly match the exam, especially if your exam has undergone some changes in the past couple of years. But the question will still assess student content and skill knowledge, which means it does have a very strong instructional purpose. It may not totally mimic what is on the AP exam, but you can get a lot of good data about student knowledge of content and skill from that question. Partially aligned questions to the current course and exam may assess skills or content that are relevant to the course, but sometimes that content and skill is at a lower level or may be slightly outside the scope of the course. Again, largely dependent on whether or not your course has changed a little bit over the course of the last several years. There may be some prerequisite knowledge in here as well, but again, we included these in case there are some instructional reasons as to why you would want to use these questions. But if you care a lot about this, you can engage these filters. Security, you know, we really are trying to, we know that you're working with a lot of different scenarios for the fall semester, and really the security you should note is around those practice exam questions. Anything with a shield icon is going to require the use of the lockdown browser if you give it online. If you give it in class in a face-to-face setting, you will be held to the same kind of stipulations you attest to as if you had downloaded the practice exam from the AP course audit portal. So just a couple of things to keep in mind there. What I can do here as well is I can preview these questions, but one of the things I really do want to do is I want to test these to see if, you know, did I cover all of these skills? Maybe I didn't cover skill 5D yet in my teaching from unit 1 to unit 3. If I haven't taught skill 5D yet, I may not want to give this question. So these are, again, some things that you should consider as you're going. I will show you the search feature pretty quickly. The search feature allows you to search for very particular statements. Like I can search for the word Boolean in in computer science, and I could see that there are 134 questions that match this. Um, but that could come up in a multiple different ways. It could be in the name of the question itself, just like it is here. It could be in the uh, text of the question itself, or it could be in what we call the data associated with the question itself. So it could be in one of the essential knowledge statements. It could be in one of the um, learning objectives. If you want to exclude searching in this particular panel, what I would do here is I would say under this drop-down menu, I would say only search for this in questions. Do not search for it in the keywords. The keywords we mean is the data that comes in that side panel. So if I do this and then I click my magnifying glass again, you'll see that my 134 questions is now whittled down to 64. And that means that this word Boolean will come up in either the question title itself or in the question or responses themselves. I can also do things like say, you know what, don't give me any questions that were in Unit 9 because I haven't gotten there yet. I can do things like minus Unit 9 and it will filter out Unit 9, or it should. Let's see, maybe not. There we go. And my Unit 9 questions will disappear. And now I'm down to 9 questions. If you want to know more about the syntax, how does this work with quotes and the minus sign, things like that, I would encourage you to read this icon right here. If you click on this, you are going to see a lot of how to use the search filter to find particular questions. If you want one word or another phrase, if you want a word minus a particular phrase, if you want things that are similar, if you want to combine search terms, it works a lot like Google search syntax does. So if you do want to read a little bit more about how you can really hone in and find the questions that you want, I would use this question bank search. Okay. So really quickly, what I'd like to do in just a couple of minutes that are left is I would like to reload this page and I would like to show you what would happen if I were in, let's say, Unit 4. And I wanted an FRQ, and maybe I don't care what FRQ it is. It's probably not array or array list, so or 2D array. So let's try this. I have 5 questions here. Let's say I'm in Unit 4, and I'm going to assign this question. I don't want to assign this one yet. I haven't covered Unit 5. I haven't covered Unit 5. I've covered Unit 2 and Unit 4, so maybe this is something that I want to add. So I'm just going to actually add it to a quiz, and I'm going to say Unit 4 FRQ practice. Okay, I'm going to click Create Quiz. I am going to assign it. Okay, you can see, again, I've gone through this a lot of times in the past 2 days. I'm going to actually, you can do this in print if I wanted to. If you find yourself in a face-to-face scenario with students, I can click Assign, and it's going to assign it to my Period 1 class, and then I can actually view the test book. And I can see what that booklet will look like. We've heard from a lot of teachers that the print versions aren't always the most user-friendly. I know that our AP Classroom team is always working on making this print preview as best as they can, and you will probably continue to see improvements throughout the year, but it does look a lot better than what it has looked in the past. If I decide, you know what, never mind, I want to give this online, I can just click the test mode. I'll do that again because I didn't actually narrate that well. I can click paper and change this to online. Okay. I am actually going to create some students for my class. Those of you who have joined me before know that I'm working with fictitious students in a fictitious class. You will have your own students, real students. And as I make these students, here are my 15 students here. What I can do is, what I'm going to actually do is so that I can score these and show you what the scoring looks like. I'm going to change this to print. Okay, that's just a fickle thing with the demo account. Whether or not your students take it online, you will still have the option to score student responses. And I very quickly wanted to show you what it's like to score an FRQ. So here's Ellen Ballman. I'm going to click on score, and what happens here is I am going to see the question on the left-hand side. If the student has uploaded their response and I click on student response, you can actually see their response here. So you can toggle back and forth. If students do this on paper, you will not see anything here, but you can still score them online. So I'll just leave the question up because there's nothing to see with student response. And then what you will see is that this is subdivided into part A and part B. And I will get some kind of scoring guideline about how I would score part A. And then for computer science A, I will see some of the canonical solution. And then I know that this is worth up to 5 points. And what I can see now is, like, if I click, if I put 1 point, it will give me what students are actually getting, what students, every single time I click a new one, if anything changes from 1 point to 3 points, it will tell me that in this section. So let's say I score the student response, they get 3 points. I can either, sometimes there's a next button, or I can also just click on part B. Let's say I decided the student got 2 points here. Make sure that they did everything they needed to, and then I can click submit. I could also say something like, I could click this button to give personalized feedback and say, great job, Ellen, great improvement, but make sure you watch out for XXXXX, whatever that is. I can give Ellen individual feedback if I would like. I can save that. You can see this turn to a check mark, and now I can click submit. It tells me what my score is. Once I submit, because I had it set to students could see their results right away, it tells me that the students will be able to access the results. I'm okay with that. So I'm going to click submit, and it's successfully saved. Now, I can go on to a different student if I'd like, which is a new improvement, or I can X out of here and I will go back to the assessment page and I can see that I've scored Ellen's work and that she has feedback. If I go to the results page, I'm only going to see that I've scored 1 student so far, and that's all of the results that I will get here. But as I continue to score, this student performance bar will continue to populate. So FRQs will have to be scored by the teacher. I did want to show you that a little bit, but it will populate results if you do the scoring in AP Classroom, and that will allow you to have yet additional feedback to get and give students. I will call it quits there for the day. I hope that this has been somewhat helpful as you kind of think about how and when you'll be using the question bank in your classrooms, or whether that's online or in person this coming fall. I hope that in general, AP Teacher Week has been helpful for you. We will look to run similar types of events in the future. If you have not already, please go back and watch the earlier videos from this week. They are still on YouTube under the Math and Computer Science channel, sub-channel playlist, so you'll be able to access all of those. Please go back and review as you need to. And I will say it's been wonderful spending the week with you. I hope once again your school year start off with as little stress as can be possible during this time. Thank you for all you do for your students. Thank you for all you do in your support of AP. I hope you and your families are safe and well and healthy. Please take care of yourself, and we hope to see you again soon. Have a wonderful day.